Stephen A. Smith, First Take, Big Perk, all together, came on today and gave huge compliments towards Caitlin Clark, huge praise. And not only there, they were on Twitter as well, giving love to Caitlin Clark, and people seem to not like it, man.
Stephen A. Smith has built a career on volume, not just in decibels, but in opinion, energy, and fire. We've seen him detonate over everything from the Dallas Cowboys to people disrespecting LeBron James. But when he took to ESPN's airwaves this time, the eruption wasn't about the usual suspects. It wasn't about Harden's defense, Kyrie's mood swings, or Kevin Durant's tweets. No, this time, the earthquake was named Caitlin Clark, and it hit like a 7.5 on the hot take Richter scale.
Stephen A., she is just different. She's special. Just a different type of electricity, man. Did you hear the roar of the crowd while that shot was in flight? Like, I'm expecting big things from her, especially MVP.
From the moment Stephen A. opened his mouth, it was clear something unusual was brewing. He wasn't debating. He was preaching. He didn't just say Caitlin Clark deserves MVP consideration. He declared it with the force of a sports sermon, finger wagging, sweat flying, and enough passion to fog up the First Take cameras. If you've ever wondered what it looks like when the loudest voice in sports media turns all his volume toward one player in the WNBA, buckle up, because this wasn't just commentary, this was coronation.
Well, let's remember this. Last year, in her rookie campaign, it was immediately after she had gone to the national championship game in the NCAA tournament, and then less than 2 months later, she's got a WNBA season where she started and played all 40 games, finished as a unanimous Rookie of the Year, all WNBA first team, finished fourth in league MVP voting.
Stephen A. didn't just casually toss Caitlin Clark into the MVP conversation. He kicked down the door, climbed on the table, and demanded the entire basketball world take notice. The man was pacing like a preacher at a revival tent. His voice climbed octaves like a roller coaster with no brakes, and every sentence hit like a thunderbolt. It wasn't analysis, it was theater. And at the center of this Broadway basketball soliloquy, a second-year WNBA guard from Iowa, who just might be changing the sport forever.
But she's Caitlin Clark. She put on a show in her old stomping grounds in Iowa versus Brazil.
What made the moment even more electrifying was how personal it felt. Stephen A. wasn't speaking like a distant analyst ticking off stats on a screen. He sounded like someone who had been watching every pull-up three, every ankle-breaking crossover, every thread the needle dime. When he shouted, "She is different," it wasn't hyperbole, it was awe. The kind of awe rarely heard from someone who's spent decades analyzing the best of the best. And this time, he wasn't yelling to argue. He was yelling to wake people up.
I think she's ready. She know it's her second year. She know what type of physicality it's gonna take. Look like she's always in great shape, never afraid of the moment. Again, we're talking about Caitlin Clark here. The spotlight been on her for years. She's not gonna shy away from it. I expect her to be in.
Clark, he said, isn't just a rookie anymore. She's not just promising or developing. She's a force, a phenom, a walking highlight reel with the basketball IQ of a veteran and the confidence of a star who's been dominating since birth. Stephen A. wasn't asking if she might be MVP material. He was demanding to know why we're even having the conversation. His voice didn't suggest a debate. It declared a truth.
And then I'm looking at the regular season, leading all rookies in scoring, field goals made, three-point field goals made, assists, steals, and minutes. She's the real deal. Make no mistake about it.
Before you dismiss Stephen A.'s theatrics as just another ESPN ratings grab, take a second to look at the receipts. Caitlin Clark isn't just making noise. She's stacking numbers that would make even the most seasoned NBA vets double-check the stat sheet. In her rookie WNBA season, she played all 40 games, led all rookies in scoring, assists, steals, and three-pointers, made the All-WNBA first team, and was a unanimous Rookie of the Year. She also finished fourth in MVP voting. Fourth, as a rookie.
What does she mean to women's sports?
I just think that she's elevating the profile of women's sports in a way that most women should deeply appreciate. She's a phenomenal player. She's a phenomenal shooter. I call her the Steph Curry of women's basketball. I've been calling her that since last year.
Let that sink in. The WNBA is loaded with veteran stars, seasoned professionals who have been dominating for years. Yet Clark, in her very first season, disrupted the pecking order like she'd been there a decade. And it wasn't just volume stats. Her advanced metrics lit up analytics dashboards across the league. True shooting percentage, elite, assist-to-turnover ratio, ridiculous. On off impact, off the charts. This isn't hype, it's history unfolding in real time.
You want to promote the sport. You put that girl up in there, and people were appalled at that notion.
What Clark did in year one isn't supposed to happen. Rookies are supposed to struggle with the speed of the game, take time to adapt to the physicality, earn their minutes. Caitlin skipped all that. She came in, dropped logo threes like they were layups, and acted like the court was her stage, because it was. She didn't just break through the rookie wall, she blew it to pieces, then calmly walked through the smoke with the ball still in her hands.
What's crazy is you had Monica McNutt, Andrea, Shanae, all on the panel right before the game, and they had a graphic, an interesting graphic that popped up showing that Caitlin Clark had the best odds to win the MVP this year. And man, I wish I could hear what they were saying.
But Clark's impact goes beyond what shows up in box scores. You can't measure energy in a spreadsheet, but you can feel it in every sold-out arena. You can see it in the camera crews following her every move, and you can hear it in the roar that erupts the moment she crosses half court. Because everyone knows she might pull up from the logo, and more often than not, it goes in. She's not just elevating women's basketball, she's flipping the whole script.
So let's start with our 2025 WNBA MVP, and that has to go to the one and only Caitlin Clark. You can say I'm glazing, you can say I'm hyping her up too much, but I truly think that this second year for Caitlin Clark is going to be like nothing we have ever seen.
Before Caitlin Clark, the WNBA was still begging for basic investments, like charter flights. 2 weeks after her debut, the league secured them. Coincidence? Please. She didn't just walk into the league, she changed its infrastructure. Clark's games now draw NBA-level media attention. Her name trends on social media every time she suits up, and merchandise with her number sells out faster than championship tickets. She's not just playing the game, she's reshaping its economics.
You got a girl here who's box office in Caitlin Clark. She is box office. We can lament it all we want to, but the fact of the matter is Caitlin Clark is box office. And we got to get that out the way. And I'll get into all of that a little bit more in just a second because it's very, very important that we point this out. She fills seats. She brings the cameras. She brings national publicity. It's what she does.
This kind of cultural influence is rare. It's not something you can manufacture. Stars are often made. But Caitlin Clark, she's born for it. The charisma, the swagger, the sheer electricity that trails behind her. That's box office. And when Stephen A. says she's different, he's not just talking about her shot selection. He's talking about the undeniable gravitational pull she exerts on every corner of the basketball universe. She's not just playing in the WNBA. She's pulling the league into a new era.
Talking about her. And who's to say they ain't gonna lose again and not win a championship? We're still talking about her. Remember, when Bird and Magic, as phenomenal as they were, the champions that they were, there came a point where despite the greatness of them as individuals and the greatness of their teams collectively with the Hall of Famers they were playing with, we were still talking about Jordan. Before he won the title, Tim, am I lying? Wendy, am I lying? We were talking about him. When's his time? Because we were clamoring for it. And I'm telling you, that's what people, when it comes to women's basketball, are going to be doing with Caitlin Clark.
In one segment, Stephen A. didn't just join the MVP debate, he completely hijacked it. The second he started shouting about Caitlin Clark being the only logical choice, the energy in the room shifted. This wasn't the usual let's wait and see rhetoric that keeps sports debates going for weeks. He planted his flag, loudly, visibly, and with zero wiggle room. That's not common. That's movement energy.
Been saying it for years. I keep telling everybody she's the Steph Curry of women's basketball, college or pro. She is a superstar.
Clark's name has hovered near the MVP conversation since her rookie season. But now, after Stephen A's mic-melting monologue, there's no way to ignore it anymore. The conversation has shifted from, is she ready? To, how could anyone possibly overlook her? Analysts, fans, even casual viewers have been jolted awake. If she keeps up this pace, or even increases it, MVP won't just be a possibility, it'll be a necessity.
Last year, and to speak to her, to be around her, she's got charisma, she's got style, she's got bravado, she's got class, she's smart as hell. Communicates her thoughts very, very well. She is so incredibly marketable.
And here's the kicker. This wasn't a small throwaway rant at the end of a segment. This was center stage, full production, Stephen A cranked to 11. It forced every other analyst, player, and voter to reevaluate where they stood. You can argue about numbers. You can debate narratives. But when the most vocal voice in sports says, this is your MVP, you either echo it or risk being left behind.
Her coming into the WNBA, you could just feel, I don't want to use the word resentment at all, because it's not fair to women basketball players out there who may have critiqued her. But what I'm saying is that when you're talking about her greatness, it is perfectly okay for those who have been great to say, okay, let's see what you've got.
Of course, no meteoric rise comes without pushback. And Caitlin Clark is no exception. From the moment she started pulling up from half court with confidence, not arrogance, confidence, critics began sharpening their knives. Too young, too new, needs to pay her dues. We've heard this tired script before. It's what traditionalists say when the game starts moving faster than they're comfortable with.
I love this one. I really do. I love this young lady. I had the pleasure of doing an event with her, during Iowa's homecoming, because my man Mark Shapiro for WME took me down there, and we were panelists. 10,000 people showed up. It was absolutely phenomenal. This girl is the best in the world.
But Clark isn't here for comfort. She's here to challenge the status quo. And that makes some people uncomfortable. There's a quiet, sometimes not so quiet, tension between the WNBA's old guard and the next-gen wave that Clark represents. Her presence has stirred a generational debate. Should icons be crowned only after years of proving themselves? Or do we acknowledge greatness the moment it slaps us in the face?
Caitlin Clark is coming. Some people think she's already arrived. I don't. I think she's going to be even better. And I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no woman, no matter how great you were as a player.
Stephen A answered that question with a megaphone. He didn't wait for Caitlin to be anointed by committee. He saw what the world is already seeing, that she's not just part of the future of basketball, she's the one writing it. And anyone still clinging to the she needs more time argument might want to check the calendar, because the future has already arrived.
Because when she came into the WNBA, for 22 plus years, they had been flying commercial. They were begging for chartered flights. She arrives there, and 2 weeks later, they got chartered flights. She automatically and instantaneously improved the conditions. Attendance is still lagging. WNBA is still losing money compared to what you would hope it would earn, but clearly things are on an upward trending.
No Stephen A rant is complete without a name-drop frenzy, and he didn't disappoint. Magic, Bird, Jordan. The holy trinity of basketball references came out like seasoning in his favorite dish. At one point, it felt like he was inducting Clark into the Hall of Fame live on air. Not someday in the future, but right now, in real time. He wasn't just comparing, he was elevating.
It's improving, and she has everything to do with it. Attendance for Indiana Fever games, are you kidding me? WNBA draft, games on ABC, ESPN, television ratings. She's directly responsible.
But buried under all those legacy shoutouts was a truth even Stephen A might have missed. Caitlin Clark doesn't need to be the next anybody. She's not the next Sue Bird or Diana Taurasi. She's not the female Steph Curry, even though her range is absurd and her confidence just as lethal. No, Clark is carving her own lane. A lane where comparisons fall short and expectations are irrelevant.
I think Clark being in the MVP conversation is kind of the baseline at this point. You know, she's already been that good as a rookie, and I imagine she's going to take another step forward. I mean, we talked about how that Olympic break was so good for her to get some rest and come in with her legs underneath her. Now she has an actual off season, you know, that she got to take off where, you know, she didn't play in Unrivaled, she didn't play overseas. So this is a lot of time for Caitlin to just get her body right and come in the best shape possible for this upcoming season. And I think that's going to pay huge dividends for her. Like there's no like ramping up period this time around for Caitlin Clark. She's going to come in on game one and be already one of the top 5 players in the WNBA. So I mean, I think MVP has to be like the ceiling for her, right? Like she's already in that conversation. So for her to, you know, get even higher in the vote total, potentially winning that award either this year or next is what I would expect from her.
She's not following a blueprint. She's setting it on fire and drawing a new one with each deep three and no-look dime. She's not fitting into a mold. She's smashing it with every game winner. Stephen A. may love comparing stars to the past, but Caitlin Clark makes one thing clear. There's no precedent for what she's doing. And that's exactly what makes her unforgettable.
We own the moment. We're not here to chase greatness. We're here to claim it. Our ambitions don't fit into headlines or highlight reels. So if you thought we arrived,
2 more for Boston.
Now you know. We're not here for the moment. We're here for the takeover.
Watch Caitlin Clark play, and you realize quickly, she's not just another talented athlete. She's a walking phenomenon. Cities she visits feel like they're hosting the Super Bowl. Pre-game warm-ups look like movie premieres. Arena security gets ramped up not because of fear, but because of overwhelming demand. Wherever she goes, attention follows, energy spikes, and seats fill. That's not normal. That's superstar gravity. Even her critics can't look away. Analysts may argue, former players might debate, but nobody can deny her impact. She's changed how teams prepare, changed how the league operates, changed how fans engage. She's a cheat code dropped into real life. A player who seems to play in fast forward while everyone else lags behind. The WNBA didn't just get a star, it got a cultural earthquake. And if you're still asking whether she's ready for MVP, maybe you've missed the point. It's not about readiness, it's about reality. And the reality is this: Caitlin Clark is the name circled in red ink in every opposing coach's playbook. She's the reason why casual fans are now tuning into women's basketball. She's the reason the league is ascending. She's not waiting for greatness. She's already wearing it. As the 2025 season unfolds, the MVP conversation is heating up, and Caitlin Clark is right at the center. But this isn't about one award. This isn't just a trophy. It's a symbol of what happens when talent, charisma, and timing collide. Clark isn't just checking MVP boxes, she's redefining what they even mean. She's not waiting for validation from the establishment. She's dragging the establishment forward, one three-pointer at a time. Stephen A. Smith, the man who built his reputation on debate, wasn't debating anymore. He was declaring. He was shouting for the people in the back. He was putting the entire sports world on notice. And if even he is ready to bow down, then what are the rest of us waiting for? It's time to stop asking if Caitlin Clark is the real deal and start asking if the league can keep up. So yeah, go ahead and clutch your old school takes. Hold on to your she needs more time arguments like they're security blankets. But don't be surprised when she drops 40, ends your team's playoff dreams, and signs a few jerseys on the way out. Because Caitlin Clark isn't here for the moment, she's here for the takeover. And if you believe she's already the MVP, type Caitlin for MVP in the comments. Let's make it loud enough that even Stephen A. can hear it from the parking lot.